大家好，我是 Branched Allen. So how strong is strong enough? Obviously, it doesn't make sense to compare your strength to someone who's double your size. But I'm going to share with you two standards to know how strong you are relative to your body weight. One more advanced and one more for someone who's really not that active. I'm going to then explain to you how best to train to increase your strength level so you can smash the next time you do this test. Dr. Andy Galpin is a professor of kinesiology at California State University, and he's worked with many professional athletes in a wide variety of sports. He has detailed out what he considers to be the standard for strength for your weight and gender. After I list out his metrics, I'm going to then share with you the metrics that I use from my own personal training practice, training with clients who are everyday people, who are non-athletes. And then you can try these two standards for yourself to see where you lie. For men, he said it's a 1-to-1 ratio of your body weight to your bench press weight, taken as your 1 rep max. A 1 rep max just means lifting your heaviest weight for just 1 rep. And if you're a woman, and since women do have less upper body strength than men, the ratio is actually your body weight times 0.6, and that should be your bench press weight for a 1 rep max. Now, to give you an example, let's say a woman weighs 50 kilos, then that means 30 kilos is her bench press 1 rep max target that she should be hitting to be considered strong under Dr. Andy Galpin's standards. The second exercise that he uses is for the legs, and that is the leg press as opposed to the squat. And that's because the barbell squat is technically very challenging to get right, and I wholeheartedly agree with this. Men should be leg pressing twice their body weight as a 1 rep max, and for women, it should be 1.5 times their body weight as a 1 rep max. He also recommends testing for grip strength using a hand grip dynamometer, as grip strength has been shown to be a really good proxy to determine overall strength, as I've also mentioned earlier in my videos. Here's what a hand grip dynamometer looks like, and you can get it for 几十块 online. And men should be targeting 45 kilos per hand, and women at 28 kilos. Now, there's also a symmetry metric that he uses, and the two hands should not be more different than 10%. If it's over 10%, that actually does increase your all-cause mortality risk. That's it for the three metrics that he uses to determine your strength level. He doesn't mention anything about age or height, and so really it's just like an absolute metric for your weight and gender. My take on Dr. Andy Galpin's metrics is that I think it's actually pretty fair and it's pretty simple to do. However, because he does work mainly a lot with professional athletes, his metrics might be skewed slightly towards a higher performing group of individuals, which I think most people might not be able to hit, which there is an argument to be made that maybe most people aren't strong enough. Also, I'm not a big fan of doing 1 rep maxes because when you put that much force into such a small window, there is a higher chance of getting injured. Just a small twist or tweak in your back or knee, and that really does increase the risk of injury. Yes, there are formulas and calculators that will help you estimate your 1 rep max using any number of reps that you take to failure. An example, you can use this one as an online calculator for you. The standard that I've used for determining strength with my clients is actually 2 exercises for the upper body. And one is bench or chest press, which is the same, and that's the pushing, and then the chin-up, pulling, to determine your back strength. For the bench or chest press, men should be pushing 75% of their body weight for 8 reps, and for women, 50% of their body weight for 8 reps. Chin-ups for men should be targeting 10 reps, whereas for women, if they can do 1 chin-up, that's already pretty good. Leg press for men should be 1.7 times their body weight for 8 reps, and for women, 1.2 times their body weight for 8 reps. Now, Dr. Andy Galpin didn't actually mention form or technique in any of these exercise metrics that he does, but we actually do know that it makes a huge difference how well you perform the exercise. Even a 1 centimeter deeper range can have a tremendous impact on your overall performance. I emphasize slow and controlled movements that will take about 3 to 4 seconds per rep. The range for the bench or chest press should be that when you're going down with the weight, your elbow should just pass 90 degrees before pushing back up. For the chin-ups, at the bottom position, the elbows should be locked out, and while you're pulling up, the bar should be under your chin. And for the leg press, the the angle in the knees should be at least 90 degrees. As mentioned in my past videos, it's incredibly important not only to retain muscle, but to keep building muscle. Skeletal muscles act as an endocrine organ, which means that it can regulate hormones that can actually have a pretty big impact to not only fat burning, but also your energy level, your heart health, and also your brain health. Also, having more muscle on your body means you have an external layer of armor that will protect your body from falls and other impacts from the external environment. That's why it is the miracle drug that every pharmaceutical company out there is trying to copy. And so when you're overall healthier, you're not only going to live a longer life by increased lifespan, but also a much richer and more meaningful life with an increased health span. Convinced? Good. Now, how can we get stronger? To get stronger is like anything else in biology. You have to apply a stimulus to the body that is usually outside what its usual setting is, and then allow it for it to adapt and get stronger. Then repeat with even more stimulus when it adapts, so then you have this constant loop where you're getting stronger and stronger with more added stimulation. It's literally that simple. This leaves it quite open for all of you to choose your preferred mode. And you can get stronger by using a number of different ways, by the choice of exercise you want to do, by the intensity level, the frequency, and just how you're deciding to rest and recover. People can get stronger from playing basketball or tennis, or from CrossFit and yoga, or even Qigong. You don't just have to do weight training to get stronger. Of course, if you do choose weight training, then it is the most effective way of doing so because that is its sole purpose. But even then, choosing the right weight training program can yield better results than others. So choosing a good trainer still has its merits. Just remember, the one principle for gaining strength is the idea of progressive overload. As you get stronger, you have to challenge the muscles to take on even more load. Once your effort level starts to plateau, then you stop growing. I did an earlier video on how you can train up to doing your first chin-up, and I used my wife as a case example. One final point to note is that the SAID, or the specific adaptation to impose demands principle, holds true here, which states that if you want to get better at doing something, then you have to practice that exact movement pattern. Anything other than that will be less than ideal. There are small muscles in the body that's actually getting stronger as you're doing the inroading process of practicing these movements. Not to mention you're building up the neuromuscular connection to the muscles so that they can perform its job more effectively. And that won't happen if you're doing lunges instead of your leg press, for example. So if you really want to do well in these strength tests, then you want to be sure that you're training these specific exercises and the way you're moving so that you can exactly mimic the way you'll be performing the test. We now have some strength metrics to determine your strength level and where you lie, as we did for cardio fitness with the VO2 max, as I've mentioned before in my earlier video. And these two metrics are the most indicative of all the things that we have researched on human longevity as the most correlative to your lifespan. That's it for today's video. I hope you found that helpful. As always, please leave any questions or comments below, and I'll see you next time.